Psychological horror, a subgenre of horror and psychological fiction with a particular focus on mental, emotional and psychological states to frighten, disturb or unsettle its audience.
Oh my god! Ah! Why did I drop him right by the door?
Some of the best horror games, both new and old, have used psychological horror in a multitude of different and creative ways to get the desired atmosphere for their game and the right reactions from the player.
You don't get to do that on my freaking...
These could include a character's journey through the depths of their troubled mind, previous trauma manifesting itself in many different ways, or just the way that character in the game sees the world that they are in. Then there's .exe games that put you, the player, in the situation where the game you thought you were playing is no longer limited by the bounds of the game and starts to directly communicate with you, the person. Whether that is in-game, via the game directory files or otherwise. This type of psychological horror takes the player past the point of playing a game and is now involved themselves, providing a slice of creepypasta ARG goodness to it that you either saw coming or were completely surprised and horrified by. This then bleeds into the games that disguise themselves as something else, or at least there's an awareness that something is off about it, and these are sometimes far too compelling to ignore as a gamer. Curiosity piques you, and you want to know just exactly what is going on. And now this kind of happened for me when I was catching up on the Game Awards back in December of last year. Seeing a creepy game that has a number of different art styles and formats, along with that familiar air of Daniel Mullins games, that immediately triggers that idiosyncratic part of me, and I need to see it. So if this is Pony Island 2, what exactly happened in Pony Island 1? Pony Island by Daniel Mullins, the same brilliant dev that brought us the amazing Inscryption, and the game Hex, which I still need to look at. Pony Island was released almost 8 years ago. A suspenseful puzzle game more than a psychological horror game, but I just like how the intro flowed. And with the upcoming release of the sequel announced at the Video Game Awards, I wanted to do a deep dive into the original and explain the utter absurdity, the creepiness, the confusion, and how it could potentially relate to Pony Island 2, if at all, from what we've barely seen of the second game. Just an FYI, there are so many little hidden secrets in this game. I will only be focusing on the lore relevant ones, not the Pokemon missing no reference or Binding Isaac I am error. I'd recommend Flemonade, who has some absolutely amazing content on Pony Island and the other Daniel Mullins games, so definitely go check him out. Now when you first load up the game, its initial start screen looks potentially like you would expect from a game called Pony Island. You know, bright colours, the upbeat, happy music. Then you get to the real game, and it is some dreary, black and white thing that's like the Internet Explorer's version of the Google Chrome dinosaur game.
Yeah, you suck. No, you just fucking suck.
It looks drab, incomplete, and the monotone humming of what only could be mistaken as my fridge freezer when it goes off sometimes definitely paints a picture of a much darker game than the player originally thought when signing up to Pony Island. Eventually you will crash the game through corrupt puzzles and portals, and you, or the player that you're playing as, will end up on the desktop screen of the machine, where a chat box appears with someone known only as Hopeless Soul, who gives us some info about what is going on. But he certainly does not give you the whole picture. He states that he wants you to help him release himself and the other souls trapped in the machine by destroying the 3 core files that are preventing them from being released. And by now the player will have already noticed a large amount of satanic references and symbols and words, You know, I'd be surprised if you hadn't worked it out by this point in the game, implying that Pony Island has either been taken control of or it was created by the devil, hence our conversations with Lucifer.
No, you just fucking suck.
But now that the obvious is out of the way, let's move on to the puzzle. And I don't mean y equals less than 0 and butterflies opening gates, and oh my god, I was stuck on that one butterfly puzzle for like half an hour. It was just ridiculous. I couldn't believe, oh my god, I just can't. I'm talking about the puzzle pieces we receive in the form of visions. In each act of Pony Island we come across Baphomet, who, if we provide them the correct password, can provide the player with information about his past and how he got here. Now, Baphomet is a symbol of balance in various occult and mystical traditions, the origin of which some occultists have attempted to link with the Gnostics and Templars, and this is important when we move on to the actual visions and the time in which they seemingly take place. So when asking each of the following questions, we get a small piece of our backstory, as the player seemingly does not know anything aside from waking up and playing this arcade game. From Baphomet we learn the following: that our name was Theodore and he was born in 1252 AD, who left behind a mother and a daughter when he died. He was killed by Abu al-Kindi, who fought for his city, which, based on where Theodore died, at the foot of Jerusalem's wall, indicates, along with some other clues, that Theodore was a soldier in the 7th Crusade that took place between 1248 to 1254 in the Kingdom of Jerusalem. This then kind of confirms what I think the player would have suspected along the way throughout the game, which is that
your soul is damned. All damned souls come here before moving on.
Confirming what we suspected in conversations with the hopeless soul, and how he, along with thousands of others, are trapped in some kind of purgatory, unable to move on to the afterlife. Lucifer is taking advantage of that and created a game for the damned to give up their souls to him and presumably move to hell. But on this occasion, someone was able to beat the game. We were, or Theodore was, and the trapped souls were seemingly released from Lucifer's grasp in the final battle. So that's it now. You delete and uninstall the game and nothing bad will happen, right? That's it, you're done with it. You move on to the next game. Well, the secret ending, after collecting all 24 tickets, I also got every achievement relatively quickly. I'm very proud. This raises the questions regarding who the hopeless soul really is. Because in the secret ending, they offer us the chance of the most epic ending to a game. Very Undertale-like, with a 3-phase final boss fight, with the boss being the hopeless soul themselves. Now, of course, prior to that, and the hopeless soul's actions during the game, it wouldn't necessarily lend me to think that they would care so much about the finality of the game, especially if it's all about saving the trapped souls, you know. Why would this matter? This lends credence to the theory that the hopeless soul is in fact Satan. And if you follow a unique set of clues and edit the game's files with regedit, something that is way over my head by the way, Lucifer will appear and is certainly not happy with you tampering with the game files. So when you change that specific file they tell you not to change to 666, you get the still shot of his father pure evil, his father pure evil, his father pure evil, his father pure evil. Now that could mean that we're talking about Lucifer's father, which is God, which is interesting if that's who he's referring to, or it could be referring to Lucifer himself, who is pure evil and is being made to write that on the chalkboard many times. In any case, it's changing the specific file again to the number 2 that essentially provides confirmation of this theory. So if you suspected it throughout, the hopeless soul was in fact Satan, aside from the fact that he says he likes to use other voices. You actually heard the audio of the hopeless soul in that scene there, which of course confirms that the hopeless soul was in fact Satan. And from everything I've learned from my research on this, bearing in mind I've yet to play Hex, and I never finished my script for Inscryption, which I'm still sad about, because I did miss the boat on the ARG, to be fair. I play games late. It just happens. I need to catch something first time for once. We'll see if that ever happens. But it appears that Pony Island is Lucifer's first appearance in the Daniel Mullins universe, and that it might appear that if we uninstall and delete the game, we would actually be releasing Satan into the world to continue his mischief, if you like. But I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it's a lot simpler than that, and a bit sillier too, to be honest. So in the credits to Devil's Island, one of the other mini games we have to play on Lucifer's login, we see this message, which reads,
I made it. Me, the devil. I make games. People talk shit because I don't have a high conversion rate of players to soul sacrifices. But it's not all about that. Those souls are just a way of counting how many people like the game. If they just told me they liked it, I might not even need souls.
Bad Steam reviews. Am I right, guys? See, I think Lucifer enjoys the fun of tormenting people, and in the Daniel Mullins verse, he does this through the medium of video games, tricking players, making them think they are saving helpless people, but in the end they are just satisfying the warped mind of the devil himself by entertaining him with an assortment of strange games. It could be that this is the only way of affecting mankind, or the only way to gain strength and influence through the medium of video games. And we see how that bleeds into the real world in Inscryption in particular.
Told you. Shit just got real.
But this video was to focus on Pony Island, as I had never played it before 2024, and that trailer for part 2 at the end of the Game Awards makes me think, was there ever a clue as to a sequel in the long time span between 2016 and 2024? Well, yes, there was. As long as you don't choose the wrong gate. See, a final secret was found by the fandom, which eventually leads to the aforementioned gate opening, revealing Pony Island 2 Panda Circus. So from the trailer, what I picked up on was, of course, the boat kind of felt like Charon. You know, Charon, who takes people across from one plane of existence to another, ferrying souls to the afterlife, etc, etc. We've played Hades, guys, we know. So it's certainly one similarity in terms of moving onto the afterlife. This time we have a magic USB that probably has sort of more than 4 gig worth of Pokemon ROM hacks on it. It's probably got something interesting on it, as well as another arcade machine again. So perhaps Lucifer has these machines dotted all over the world with different versions of Pony Island and other games. There's even a core files warning screen at one point. So it's safe to say that there'll be some more satanic tricks on hand, and a lot more shocking things that I'm sure we won't even be able to begin to theorize or prepare for. The same with Inscryption. And for me, the same will be for the Hex, which I am certainly going to move on to next, because I'm looking forward to playing that now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.